little background on Maria Sharapova that some of you may not know. So Maria picked up a tennis racket at age 4 years old. She came to the US with her father at 6.5, I believe. Was that the right age? Yeah. 6.5 to Miami with only $700 in your pocket. You're ranked #1 on singles by the World Tennis Association on 5 separate occasions. For 11 years, you were the highest paid female athlete in the world. Kudos to you. Go women.
Girl power.
Go girl power. 5 Grand Slams. Insane. So exciting. In March of 2012, you were named one of the greatest of all times. I believe that was Time Magazine who had you on the cover.
I don't remember.
I know you don't remember.
But if I could start every Saturday morning with this intro, I mean.
It's good, but you know what? I learned so much about Maria, the person, Maria, the tennis player, Maria, who had her challenges, like all of us.
Right.
And so I could not be more excited today to talk about tennis business, fashion, being an entrepreneur, and what have you planned for yourself in the coming days after your retirement?
Right.
So the first thing I just want to start out with, which is so interesting to me, is you came over from Russia at age 6.5. I can kind of relate to this because my father is a Holocaust survivor who escaped Germany at age 11.
Wow.
He came over here with his parents and his brother, looked at the Statue of Liberty and his father said to him, "We can never look back." Okay, so he was 11, didn't speak a word of English, and was put in kindergarten, and then became a very successful in his marriage, in his relationships with his children, and in business. Now I'd like to know what it was like, if you can remember, as a 6.5-year-old child, what it was like for you to come over from Russia to the United States. Did you speak English? Tell me a little bit about that.
I had a fascinating journey and a fascinating story, and neither of my parents were true athletes. Like my mother did dance when she was younger. She was very young when she had me, so she was still in university. My father played hockey, but even though he believes he was good, he wasn't very good. So I didn't really have anyone in my background that kind of paved the way for an athletic career. So the move to the United States at a very young age was very surprising to the rest of my family, because the thought of leaving Russia and flying, over an entire body of water, it seems like you're never going to come back, at least from their perspective. And so it was very scary, and there was a lot of fear in the family, but we were doing it because a lot of people noticed that I was talented from a young age, and they encouraged my father to keep progressing that talent and to keep working at it, because talent wasn't enough. And tennis wasn't a very big sport in Russia when I was growing up. It's much more popular right now, but in those days, not many. It was all about winter sports and figure skating and hockey. And so I was kind of like the odd one out. And so when we came to the United States and I arrived with my father, my mom couldn't join us for the first couple of years because of visa issues. So that was another struggle. But from a young girl's perspective, it was really exciting. I didn't speak much English. I knew a few words. I had a tutor, and I learned very fast because I was surrounded by kids at a tennis academy, and kids don't shut up, they just talk.
Right.
And that was like my very natural education and how I picked up English so fast. But I miss my mom, I miss my friends, I miss my home. But what I did love about America was I right away understood what opportunity was, and the coaches and the talent that was there, they pushed me to be a better player, which back home, because tennis wasn't really popular and we didn't have coaches and many tennis courts, I didn't really feel that. So to be doing what I loved every single day and to be doing it next to my father, although it was a really big chance, it was a really beautiful story.
You know, it's all about also risk taking. And I'm sure, you know, that was a big risk. And without risk don't come rewards. And you
Right.
come over from, you know, in my dad's case, he was forced to leave. This was your choice.
Right.
And which turned out to be a great choice. But I'm
Right.
sure you were taught the tenacity and the passion and so forth from so many of your role models, people that are in the tennis world and so forth. So I just have one question to ask you, because I don't want it to be about tennis completely, which is, I know, such a huge part of your life. So if you had to pick one tennis player, here, dead or alive, that you could have played a tennis match with at Wimbledon or anyone, who would it be and why?
I will start with Steffi Graf. I'm going to do one female and one male.
Yes, one female, one male.
Because I loved her style. I loved, I mean, actually, Monica Seles was always my favorite, but I got a chance to play her a couple of times. And Steffi, I never played against. And I enjoyed watching her because she was so elegant and she made it look easy. And that was hard for me because I was talented, but I was tall and I was lanky and I wasn't a good mover. When she moved, she was fluid and, you know, she looked really beautiful doing it. Even though I knew how physical and how hard it was, like the work that she was putting in. And I think my male choice would be John McEnroe, because I would just have a lot of fun.
I think, you know, from learning about you and reading your excerpts from your book, I did kind of get a feeling that it would kind of be like John the bad boy, Maria the good girl. And I think that is amazing. You know, I would want to see that tennis match myself. That's amazing. So my last thing is, do you still play tennis? How's that? I mean, and what's it like?
I haven't in the last couple of months because I've really been home.
Yes.
But I certainly will when things ease up and we're able to move around and be a little bit more flexible. It's something that I love so much, and I will certainly be on the court, and it will feel strange and odd, and but I'm okay with that. You know, I've always been someone that accepts like feeling that I'm not necessarily in a position of knowing it all or feeling great, and I like finding a way. So I'll embrace that feeling when it comes.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
That's great. Unfortunately, I think all the tennis courts are closed now,
they
but
are.
once they open, I think that probably will be an exciting part of your life. So the other thing is, you know, you've been such a tremendous role model for so many years. And, you know, tennis is such a sport that we all love to watch. We all love to view. You won Wimbledon at 17 years old. I can't even imagine that feeling. You've won 5 Grand Slams. What's that feeling like? You know, you prepare, you put so much time and effort into it. You don't know if you're going to rise to the top as you did. So what was that feeling like of winning a Grand Slam?
Yeah, victory is so emotional, and what I love about the sport is that it has this match point. So like you could be going into any match feeling tired, feeling unprepared, feeling inexperienced compared to your opponent, but you always have a chance. And when you get to the opportunity, if you do, of a match point, especially at a Grand Slam final, it is unlike anything. It's so hard to describe. I felt it 5 times in my career.
Yes,
and
which is amazing.
it is unique, and it's also very humbling, and it's I look back at those memories of my first couple Grand Slams, and I would say they came from a place of surprise, and I didn't expect to win and achieve those things at 17 years old. I followed it up with a victory at the US Open in New York City at 19, in a city that
Amazing.
completely intimidated me at the time. In an arena where I was supposed to be so focused, there was so much distraction. And I found a way to get through all that noise, which actually I felt was maybe more of an effort than the actual tennis, because it's a skill set that you must come forward with when you're a professional athlete, is how do you get rid of all the noise around you and just
Right.
play in your mind and be in this small, use the energy of the crowd when you need it, play off of that, but also like count on your instinct and your own ability and your own belief. If you don't have that belief, that's where it all starts, right? That pure belief in yourself. So the feeling is magical. It happens so fast, and when you do become a champion, you're all of a sudden like in this place and that place and doing this interview, and you end up having dinner with your team and celebrating, but you're so physically tired.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And
Because
mentally, I'm sure.
yeah, because it's a moment of just letting go, and you hold so much tension throughout those 2 weeks of a Grand Slam, and it is so, when you let go, everything just, you're tired. like
Yeah.
like you just want to wake up in the morning, and you know how in the morning when we're drinking our cup of coffee, we're inspired, and that feeling of like waking up with a Grand Slam trophy next to me is like that image. It's not even the image of me holding a trophy on the court after I win. It's like waking up the next morning and realizing what I'd accomplished. That's
which
very
is
special.
which is huge. We all have our accomplishments, and we all have our failures in our life. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you've had challenges in your life through your career. Something really interesting. I was on a podcast last week, and it was about mentoring kids and my advice to them, how to start your career. And I used the kind of the quote, failure is a condiment that gives success its flavor, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of my favorites. But the person who was interviewing me said to me, don't use the word failure, use the word practice. And I thought that was terrific, because I think, of course, you can relate to that. It's not always what it seems like it is. And I know in everybody's life, no one really realizes the struggles, what you've gone through, how much you had to prepare, and then
Right.
giving the opportunity to do what you did and then
Right.
achieve success. It's
Yeah.
just a great
I,
thing.
I don't know how you see it, but I've always thought, and it's different when you're young, because when you're young, you don't have much experience. So you're very emotional about the things that come at you immediately. But I do find that the challenges and the way that we handle them ultimately set us up for later challenges in our life. So, and although they're never exactly the same, and maybe they're in different parts of our life, but the way that you handle, a loss of a job, or passing away of a family member, and really the way, when I say the way you handle, is like, you can be frustrated and sad and emotional, but the way that you work yourself back up to be positive and to have a good outlook will help you so much in the future. And when you get another challenge, the experience of the one that you faced previously will help you so much. And it's really the way that I see the position that we're in now. We are, most of us are, I'm sure, because I feel that way, are in this position of how there's so little that we can do to help. Right?
Right.
What we can do to help is stay at home and, encourage this physical distancing. But on a bigger level, what can we do? Probably very little right now. And
I agree.
so, but I'm trying to find, and if we think about what's going on, it's very scary. And we're full of fear and anxiety, and it's tough to look at the bigger picture because the bigger picture just seems so grand and unattainable right now. And in a moment like this, it's almost as if we need to focus on just ourselves and how we come through every single day and how we handle this emotionally and do it in our best ability so that we set ourselves up for what's to come in the rest of our lives, because we'll get through this and there will be other challenges along the way, and hopefully not on a scale as massive as this one, but we will be faced with other things. And you know what, the reason I enjoy speaking to you, and we spoke on the phone the other day, was kind of this concept of we're in a business of this indulgence, right? Like, I can't imagine, I'm proud to be in a business where you know, we sell sweets at Sharapova, and you're selling beautiful, attainable, really well-priced cashmere. And at this point, these are all little pieces of happiness. You know, this little piece of indulgence, these things. Like when I received the package earlier today, I was so happy. Like
Yeah.
I was like a kid at a candy store.
A kid in a candy store. Perfect introduction to you, Maria, the entrepreneur.